On today's video, we're going to talk about fishing small streams for trout. Hey there, outdoor YouTubers. It's Dave Knetter from Knetter's Practical Outdoors. And like I said earlier, today we're going to talk about fishing small streams for trout. There's something about the simplicity of fishing small streams that I really love. You just grab one rod, a box of hooks and sinkers, maybe a few spinners, container of worms, and you're good to go. And for me, that's very much in contrast to a lot of the boat fishing that I do, right? When you're boat fishing, you're trailering a boat, you're putting gas in a boat, you're launching a boat, you're charging deep cycle batteries. When you're out fishing, you're using electronics, you're using multiple rods, you've got a suitcase of tackle. Now, don't get me wrong, that type of boat fishing that I just described, that really is my favorite type of fishing. But, stream fishing for trout is kind of a nice change of pace. Now, one technique that I use when I'm fishing small streams for trout is to fish with worms or crawlers. And I find it really helps to use a light wire Aberdeen hook when you're doing this type of fishing. All right? When you're bushwhacking for these trout in these kind of tight quarters, these smaller streams, you're going to run into a lot of snags. You're going to run into a lot of casts that get hooked on a overhanging branch. And it really helps to have like a light wire Aberdeen style hook. And a lot of times you can just kind of grab your line when you get hung up somewhere and pull on it. And these light wire hooks will actually kind of bend open and they'll pull loose rather than break your line. And that's kind of a nice benefit, Then when you get the hook back, you just can grab a little pair of pliers, maybe even your forceps. Bend it back into place, check to make sure it's sharp, and you're fishing again. Okay, it really beats retying new hooks on all the time. And sticking with that same train of thought, when I'm fishing small streams for trout, a lot of times I will use 6 or 8 pound test mono. All right, and for the size fish I'm catching, that really is kind of overkill. But using that heavier line, what that allows you to do is get even more of those snags out. Okay. It gives you that little bit extra strength in comparison to using 2 or 4 pound test line. So it allows you to pull on that line and get a few more of those snags back, without breaking off. And, it really is nice when you've got like a $5 spinner hung up on a branch across the stream and it's maybe too high for you to reach. It's really nice to have that 8 pound test line to kind of pull on that branch with that line and get that spinner back to you without it breaking off. And I know a lot of you guys out there are saying, well, I like to use 2 or 4 pound test because it's a real thin diameter line and those trout don't see it as well and you get more strikes because of that. Or maybe you're casting small spinners and you like to get a little bit more casting distance with that lighter line. And those are all true things, but a lot of the places I like to fish are either turbulent or a little bit of stain in the water or both. And I really don't think, bumping up to 6 or 8 pound test line really compromises your strikes. And these small little places, these small little streams that I'm fishing, casting distance is really kind of irrelevant. So just for the fact that I can get a few more snags out, I do like going with that little heavier pound test line. Then of course, another method for fishing small streams for trout is casting spinners. And I kind of like to doctor up my spinners a little bit. What I'll do is I'll cut the treble hook off of them, and I'll replace that treble hook with a little bit longer single hook, sometimes a slow death hook. And then when I'm fishing with the spinner, I'll thread a worm onto that hook. And I just think it helps you get bit a little bit more, you know, kind of gives that trout a little flavor, a little texture that it really wants to hold on to a little bit more. Now, I did do a separate video on doctoring up these spinners for trout, and I'll leave a link to that video in the description below this video. So if you want to check that out, that'll be there for you. Nice beautiful brook trout on the worm and spinner rig. Nice brook trout. Yeah, not too bad. Maybe 9. Yeah. Some kind of creature hole. What's your best guess there, Nick?
Creature.
Think it's a creature? Don't stick your pole in there, he'll take your spinner. Oh, this will be good.
My bag. I think it was.
Alright guys, well there's just a few quick thoughts on fishing some of these smaller streams for trout. For me personally, it's a nice change of pace from the boat fishing that I normally do. Walking through the woods, up and down these smaller streams, it's a lot of fun, a lot of nice scenery to be had. And even though the fish in these smaller streams do tend to run a little bit on the small side, they're still just a very beautiful fish, right? Brook trout, brown trout, really have spectacular colors. That's kind of another bonus to this type of fishing. Now, if you're not subscribed and you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing. If you are subscribed already, hey, thanks a lot for the support. But hey, guys, remember to hunt, fish, laugh, repeat. This is Dave Knetter from Knetter's Practical Outdoors. Hey, thanks for watching and God bless.